Good afternoon, everybody. This is Alex. I'm with Underground Noise. This is Webisode number 20. Hit that subscribe button down there at the bottom right corner. I'm here with Jarrett Pritchard, who used to be in the band Eulogy. Now he's in Pulchra, or not, shit, I messed that up. Pulchra Morte, and also Brutality. Welcome, Jarrett.
Hey, thanks. It's good to talk to you.
You as well. I figured I'd ask you some questions about music.
That's what I do. Let's do that.
Awesome. First off, I would like to ask you, what prompted you to become a musician, and how old were you when you first discovered music?
My dad, I was tiny. Like, my dad played in bands. My dad was an engineer as well, because I guess you know I am too. Before that, he had two bands in the early 70s. One was called Storm, and one was called Justin. So when I was a little kid, I was seeing them practice in my, in the back, play like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, like heavy rock. And so I was always into it. And then weird things happen. Your parents get divorced or whatever. You probably attached to your dad or something about your dad. And so I was just really into it. And then when I was about 4.5 years old, I walked into my Aunt Ruth Ann's room and Kiss was on the walls in the 70s. And I looked at the walls and I went, what is that? Oh my God, like I got to do that. And that's where it went. And I never stopped playing from there. Like I immediately was like, I'm going to play guitar. I'm going to play in a band. I was trying to have a band when I was in first grade. Like my first band that played out, I think I was like 13, had a punk rock band called the X Fiends. So I always played, like always. It's always been part of me. Like I don't remember when I did.
Was guitar the first instrument that you played?
Well, when I was little, I thought I wanted to be a drummer. And I had sticks and I beat on everything. But as soon as I saw Ace Frehley, it was guitar. Just absolutely guitar. And just, yeah, and it never stopped from there. I played other instruments too. I mean, I played in high school band, total dork. Played flute. I played, over the years, I've learned to play piano. I can program drums really well. I have a really deep understanding of drummers and history of drummers and drum theory, but I don't physically do it. So mostly my main instrument's always been guitar and bass. Like I've played bass in some bands, play guitar in some bands, but guitar is the primary.
I would also like to ask you, what songs do you find to be your favorite from Eulogy, and which ones did you find to be the most difficult to write?
Oh, like looking back, I think for me, they're wrapped up in the context of time and learning to be a musician. Because I was just a kid then, that's something I don't think people really understand. That Eulogy started when I was 16 years old. A lot of what you guys know is that music was written when I was 19, probably. The Essence is a big move for me because I loved where we were in Florida so much, but I knew that we were oversaturated. And I knew that I couldn't just contribute to that wellspring, that I had to do something that was my own. And, in retrospect, I think I probably took some chances that were weird. Like I listened back to some of them and I'm like, wow, what were you thinking? But I love the Essence because I was just trying to do different things. And I love Dismal because Dismal is where I figured out how to write interwoven guitar parts. Like, because again, we're talking about me at like 19, like trying to figure out like who I am as a musician. And Dismal was the one where I kind of figured out how to like write like single tones on one guitar, fast picking, and then the other guitar playing like a walking thing. So more like, Mozart Symphony Number 40. Just the idea of having like single tones underneath and then having the room to walk in harmony around that. And Dismal's where I learned that. So probably those two. Those are my favorites. Difficult to play. We practiced so much, man. We practiced like 5 nights a week, 6 hours a night. I made the band play in the dark so we wouldn't look at our fretboards. We just lived it for about 6 years. So I guess hard to write, but by the time we were playing them live, it wasn't hard because we had it. We put the work in. That's all I'll say, that we put the work in.
Very, very cool. I was just looking back at Dismal and I was like, wow, this is incredible. I haven't listened to this in years.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Who would you say your personal musical influences are?
The context of time changes it, but at the time of Eulogy, if we're on that topic, I make no bones about it. Trey Azagthoth was a huge influence on me and a really nice guy and really nice to me as far as telling me things, like when I would ask him questions. Eric Rutan and Sean Kelly of Ripping Corpse had a profound effect on me, and they were equally cool people to us. They came to Florida, played a show with them, became friends with them, and I'm friends with Eric to this day. And their musicianship had a profound effect on me. And then there was other things at the time that I wouldn't say I was influenced by, but that I was impressed by deeply. I thought Incantation's first album, Onward to Golgotha, was one of the darkest things I'd ever heard in my life, and I was so impressed by it. I loved Dawn of Possession from Immolation. I thought they were doing something really unique and new and great. I loved the early At the Gates. So like Gardens of Grief EP, Red in the Sky is Ours. And I absolutely loved Paradise Lost's Gothic album at the time. And the thing that I kind of was very into like punk rock music in the 80s. Like I was a punk rocker, like, street punk. I mean, I lived on the streets and all this other stuff. I mean, I was full on punk rock dude. And because I had kind of gotten disenchanted with heavy metal when it went to glam rock, because I was into heavy metal when I was a kid, in the early 80s. So I'm like Maiden, Dio, Rainbow, things like that. So by the time I hit around 12 or 13 years old, I had been really into Motley Crue, like Shout at the Devil era. And all of a sudden, all of the like good rock, all of a sudden kind of had this weird like glam, blah, blah, blah thing over it. I don't have a problem with glam. I like the New York Dolls a lot. I like T-Rex a lot. I like a lot of 70s glitter music, but not in that context. So I was really, really disenchanted with it. And I found punk rock, particularly Black Flag. And, so time went on and I really wasn't interested a lot in heavy metal other than certain things like Master of Puppets blew my mind. Ride the Lightning blew my mind. I loved that. And I kind of didn't come back to it for like 3 years. And the way that I came back to it was, funny enough, somebody gave me Morbid Tales and put on Into Crypts of Rays. And I was like, yeah, like that's where it's at, that thing. And then I kind of reopened it, and through The Accused, I started paying attention to Creator and Voivod, probably about 1988. And so I kind of had this interesting like circle where I was like into metal. I kind of stepped away from it for a minute in about 1985 or 86. And then by 1987, 88, had found things in metal that were things I could get again. Hell Awaits, like Crypts of Eternity, the song Crypts of Eternity, that was a big one for me. As far as my overall life influences as guitar players and things, Mick Ronson, who played guitar for David Bowie, is one of my favorites to this day. If you listen close, you can hear it in my playing all the time. Jay Fernandez, who I play with in Brutality, is my friend, and he is and has always been a profound influence on me. He played with me in Eulogy. He's taught me so much over the years, but in general, I just love him as a player. He's just fantastic. I can't say enough about him, and it's cool that I'm friends with him.
That's very cool.
So it's a lot. Sorry, that was a rant. I love music so much, and there's so much that I'm into. Like, I listen to like Slow Dive and like weird shoegazer music. Here lately, I've been listening to a live album of this band called God is an Astronaut. And then, I'll turn around and listen to, the new Paul Bearer, which I think is fantastic. And then I'm listening to 1349. It's just everywhere. And I love it that way.
Yeah, it's good to have a variety, that's for sure. It keeps an open mind and an open heart for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I like a lot of punk rock myself, kind of like Bad Religion, Ramones, MXPX, stuff
Sure.
like that.
Yeah, speaking of bad, let me just throw this out there. You want to talk about influences? The fucking Bad Brains was profound. Like I heard Pay to Come on the Let Them Eat Jelly Beans compilation
Mm-hmm.
and all split. I'd never heard anything like that. And I still love the Bad Brains. Pretty much. They're probably in my top 10 of all time. I feel like at a point in their career, the Bad Brains were absolutely intensity personified.
Yeah, I haven't listened to them in a minute. That's one name that I haven't listened to in a while, so I'll have to rehash it. I'd also like to ask you, Jarrett, while you're on tour, have you ever had any moments that have been life-threatening or, say, embarrassing?
Embarrassing. All right. So let's be real honest. I'm going to be more honest with you than most people dare to do. I'm a sound engineer. Every night we walk up to the desk, and whether you know it or not, everything happening in the room is coming through our hands. Most of the time, 99.9% of the time in my entire career, I've always had a good time. Always done well. I've been good at it. I'm lucky. I worked hard at it. There have been a few nights in particular with, where you just don't have it. You don't got it. Whether it's the PA, whether it's the band, and it happens. Not a lot, but it has happened. I call it the washing machine. And all you can really do is start at channel 1 and just start trying to fix it. So it's happened rarely. I state that again, rarely, or I wouldn't have a career. But I'm honest about it, and it has happened. Embarrassing? No. I keep my shit dialed on tour. I don't party. I don't drink, really. I'm there to do the work, not, running around being all crazy. I love the work. Like, I love the show. I love the music. I love the technical aspect of what I'm bringing to the situation. So it's not like I'm trying to, fill out the day with other things. I'm not out there gallivanting. I'm out there to be an engineer and a tour manager and do it well and do it right and make sure the people in the audience are getting what they came for. Make sure that I'm guiding my band in a way that's going to, make sure that they're presenting the best that they can present. Life-threatening. Well, my dumbass just went to Texas and got COVID and ended up in the hospital. So I guess that counts, right?
Yeah.
I've had issues where I've been taken into a basement with nefarious characters not wanting to pay. 6 of them, as a matter of fact. And I've had situations where I was aware that coming up to a show that there was some maybe militant ways of dealing with not wanting to pay your bills and everything. And I'm very calm, but I'm extremely fierce. I don't care if there's 6 of you. We're here to do business. If you want to try it, we'll all do our best. But that's not what I'm here for. And I don't get angry and I don't get scared and I don't get anything. I'm always professional. But it's happened, not much, a couple times. Overall, most of the people that I work with in the, are you there still?
Yes.
Most of the people that I work with in general are very nice and very professional and very cool. And I really, truly, I'm gonna have to turn my camera sideways. I'm really sorry, but my charger's being an ass. Most of the people that I work with out in the world, promoters, things that I haven't gotten to see in a couple of years, are really great people, really fantastic people to work with. The names that are going through my head at certain locations and people and how we work together and everything is really, really great for heavy metal and for music and everything like that. So life-threatening. I mean, I've had bus wrecks and I've had somebody drive me into a ditch with 2 feet of fucking water I woke up into before. But for the most part, it's pretty safe.
Well, that's good. It's good to stay safe.
Sure.
Is there anywhere in the world that you haven't toured that you've always wanted to tour?
Yeah. Japan's a big one. I was supposed to go to Japan with 1349, and there was just problems getting the visa together. It was kind of like put on me to do it here, but I was in the middle of another tour, so it was really hard to do the legwork, and I just couldn't get it together. I couldn't get the visa together. It had to do with like something stupid, like pages in my passport too. It was like dumb. Like I didn't have enough pages. But that's one I've always wanted to do. I want to go to Iceland. I haven't done that because I really love the band Solstafir, and I got to tour with them here in the States, and I really love their music, and I want to see where they come from, you know. But I've done, Australia, I've done South Africa, I've done all over Europe. I've done South America, I've done all over Mexico, I've done all over the US and Canada. So kind of Japan. I'd like to go to India, Indonesia. I'd like to go to Sumatra, but I don't think they do shows there. But mostly Japan's what's left. I've done pretty much everything else.
That's cool. Where's your favorite place to play live?
To play live? Well, Pulchra's only just getting started. We've only played a little bit, but so far, I had a really good time with our shows with 1349. Played like First Avenue, Minneapolis. We played. It was, what was that called? I can't remember what the club was called, but it was fantastic up there with 1349 Iwata. We played at the Cobra in Chicago, which was a lot of fun. Played Reggie's in Chicago, was a lot of fun. The 542, I think it's called, in Georgia. We played. That show was fantastic. It was us, Cloak, Iwata, 1349. It was packed. Friends from everywhere. People drove from New Orleans. That show was fantastic. I think that was my favorite one, actually.
Right on. Do you keep in contact with the fans that you meet?
I keep in contact with anyone cool that wants to talk about anything cool. Like I am 100% into community and sharing information, and like there's no difference. Nothing wrong with the terminology because fans are supporters or whatever. I just want you to know, like the way that I see it, like we're all the same, nobody's above me, nobody's beneath me. I don't look at things like that. So to me, someone that appreciates my music, like I feel like I'm the lucky one. And, making friends with people like that and like, talking or like sharing ideas or talking about gear. Like I'm on the internet last couple of days talking about gear with people, just pedals and stuff. And it's rad, like I love to share information. I used to be a teacher. I mean, people don't know that. I taught at a university for like 5 years, like large format recording and stuff. So conversations that are healthy and interesting about, gear or process or this, that, or the other, I'm so into. So I talk to anybody, keep in touch with anybody. As long as they're cool. Now, I'm not interested in talking about politics. Not fucking interested in talking about this side or that side of the conspiracy about this fucking thing or that fucking thing. I'm just not. I come from a family where my dad was a scientist. He was extremely highly cleared. All I can say about that is I know that none of us really know shit. And if you did know shit, you'd be fucking dead. I promise you. So to argue little points of what you saw on CNN is a waste of fucking time to me. But any positive conversation, anything good that's going to enrich two people, I'm 1,000,000% about.
What would you say is your favorite guitar?
Right there.
Nice.
I got this from ESP, from Tony Rouser at ESP, because he's fucking cool. It's my EC1000 LTD. The airport bounced it off the tarmac. They broke my switch, those little motherfuckers.
Uh-oh.
I don't care. I love this guitar. This is my favorite instrument.
Very nice. We were talking about tattoos. I saw that you had a black flag tattoo. This is my Zyklon tattoo.
Nice.
Yeah, it's backwards, but it still works.
Oh
What
yeah.
other kind of tattoos do you have, Jarrett?
Um, I've been getting stuck for years. I have this giant Cthulhu that my friend Brett Barr did. His name's Brett J. Barr from Built for Speed Tattoos here in Orlando. I just got this big wolf's head maybe last year from a guy that worked at 36 Black, which is a tattoo shop here in Orlando owned by my buddy Johnny Nobody. And they're really talented, really, really good people. There's a few things here and there, a
That's
couple needle
cool.
sticks every once in a while.
Do you have any family members that like metal?
I think that, yeah, my cousin Lauren, who's my Aunt Ruth Ann's daughter, and my other cousin Ian, who are much younger than me, I think those two like it a little bit. The rest of my family, no, but they respect it, that, I'm involved in it and that it's a thing in my life. My mom's come to see us play, in 94, she came to see us play at the King's Head Inn in Norfolk, Eulogy. We went up to Virginia to play and stood in the middle of the pit and ended up getting her lip busted by a beer bottle.
Ouch.
But she's tough. She don't care. She's hardcore. Kathy's not screwing around, man.
Well, that's understandable.
But, like early on, like they came down to Florida and saw Eulogy play one time. They stood at the side of the stage and they didn't, I don't think they even understood it because it was so fast and so ferocious, as Clay, those days, Clay was quick, man. That's what we were up to, was being fast. So it was an onslaught. So my whole family's like standing on the side, like kind of like, what is happening right now?
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I also wanted to ask you, what is your favorite thing about being a musician?
You know what? I'm on just enough medication that you're going to get all the honest answers today. You want to know? I'll tell you what it is. Psychic language. You see, I sit down in a room and I pick my guitar up and I feel something and I turn it into notes. Whatever I'm feeling, I've always played from feeling, always. It's like the most important thing. So when I take that sound and I turn that into notes, now, if I'm doing it right, those notes, those sounds, that feeling embedded in that progression or that movement, now that goes to somebody else. Now they hear it. Now they translate it. Now they feel what I felt. See, emotion's intangible. It's almost impossible to accurately describe or transfer an emotion. The only way I know how is that way. And that's my favorite thing about it, that you can write something that you like have feeling behind and you can put it out there and share it. And somebody else can get it and hear it and they can feel something too off of it. And so it's an intangible way of communicating with other people. And that's probably my favorite thing about it.
That's really cool. I was checking out your profile on Facebook a little bit ago, and I seen that you do some work with Kiefer Sutherland. Would you like to elaborate about that?
Yeah, sure, man. They needed a monitor guy. I got a call a couple years ago, like, need a monitor guy. I said no, because I hate doing monitors. They said he really needs one. He's gone through a few. It's not working out. I kind of, in my career, one of the things that I do, just to be clear, I get the call when the artist has had a hard time and the monitors aren't right and they can't hear on stage, or they're having a technical problem. That's how I ended up working with Dr. John. Same thing. So anyway, I said, yeah, I'll do it. I took the job. I flew up to Boston. I met them. They were all sitting in the bar having a good time, getting loaded. Kiefer's a really sweet, awesome dude. And he walked up to me kidding, of course. He's like, have you figured this out? I'll buy you a house. Because they were all loaded, they were partying. I started laughing. I was like, great, man, I'll take care of it for you. I went to the show in Boston the next day. I unpacked their gear. I did it. We did the thing. It all worked out really well. We just developed a rapport with each other where he and I understand each other, and I understand what he needs, and I like him as a human being. He's really cool. Like, he's a really, really cool person. And I feel kind of honored to be able to help him do his thing, you know?
Yeah.
And, it's a specialized gig. I mean, who in the world wouldn't want a record producer doing their in-ears on stage? I mean, if you're smart, you would,
Yeah.
because I'm sitting up there making it sound like a record every night. But we have good communication when the room is echoey and things. I have good techniques for calming it down. And our crew in that camp is a really good family of people. Everybody's really cool. Like my techs, Morte and Zach, are awesome. Pablo, who's our European front of house, is great. On monitors, all the band, Joe and Jess, Austin, Kiefer, Phil. It's just a good scene. I'm really happy we're going back out. I heard the other day that we're going the end of January for a month over in Europe. So I'm really stoked about it.
That sounds great. For people that don't know what a kill switch is, could you explain that to them?
A kill switch?
Yeah, like on a guitar.
Oh, I mean, that's just going to cut your input to your amplifier or cut your effects loop, depending on where it is, like depending on what you want to do. So like your tuner is kind of a kill switch. So you hit your tuner and no signal passes through. You can tune quietly. If it's a preamp thing and you just have a kill, you probably just have like an on and off switch. You stick in your loop, and that way nothing can make it to your power amp. So no sound can get through your speakers at all.
What tuning do you like to play in with your guitars?
So Pulchra is in drop C and Brutality's in straight D. I tend to gravitate towards those. I don't really want to go any lower. I kind of feel like lower tunings, like anything can be heavy no matter what. You don't really have to think as much about chord progressions and stuff. And I like the challenge of doing so. I don't have a problem with anybody else that plays low. I like a lot of music that's extremely low tuned. But for me, being more of a traditionalist, kind of the way I play, D is about as low as I want to go. That's where I hang out.
That's cool.
Plus the C, like the dropping the C gives me the Black Sabbath lowest note, and so I'm able to like play in keys that are a little doomier, but without sacrificing some of the brilliance of being only a step below standard.
That sounds great. I had seen you on the Cannibal Corpse DVD, Centuries of Torment. How did they get a hold of you for that?
I mean, I've known those guys since like 1992. And what happened is that, so I was going to do Eulogy again at a point, and it was kind of a joke where I wrote a Eulogy song. And I guess Clay took it on the bus in St. Louis and was like, Pritchard wrote a Eulogy song. And I just written this song. And then it was like, all of a sudden, like kind of floodgates open, and Barrett's like, dude, I'll play, I'd like to play with you. Because me and Rob are good friends, and so it was kind of like during all that, and they played this show here in Orlando, and like a bunch of bands were on it. Goatwhore was on it, and Cannibal was on it, and so I went to the show to hang out, because I mean a lot of friends were there, people I've known for most of my life, and Denise Corici, who made the movie, was hanging around, and like was like asking questions and stuff. And we were at dinner and we were like laughing about a lot of stuff, stuff I would never say on camera. And we kind of left dinner or whatever. And what happened was I was walking back to the venue and I was on the street, and Denise was like, hey, Jarrett, can I get a clip from you for the interview for the movie that I'm making, that I'm here for? And I was like, yeah, sure, of course, So we literally just had like an impromptu talk on the street, like after we had dinner together, like all of us. And that's basically how that happened. It was like completely not planned.
So unexpected, right?
Totally, 100%.
Wow, that would catch me by surprise. Like, what do I say?
Just tell the truth.
Yeah, that's all there is to it. That's the best way.
Just share what you think. Tell the truth. And that's the only way.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to meet Cannibal Corpse back in 2009 when they played at Northern Lights in Albany. Derek Boyer from Suffocation was there too.
I know Derek, he's a friend.
That was an excellent show.
Yeah, I've toured with Suffo. They're really, really great. I mean, they're still a really great band. I got to tour with Suffo with Cole Ross playing on drums. And that was just stupid. Just stupid. It was amazing. Like they just blew fucking doors every night. Like you just stand back at the console and you can't even help but laugh because it's so sick. You're just like, there you go. There you go. We played this crazy show at the Vex in East LA. And the promoter guy, like the owner guy, kept like jocking me and getting up on the thing and bitching about the desk and everything. And I finally got so irritated with him. I looked over and I was like, listen, I tell you what, bub. I said, I'll fucking turn it off. And all 600 of these people are going to fuck your venue up. So you can either leave me the fuck alone and let me finish doing this show, or things are going to get real. That actually happened. You asked about touring. That happened.
Oh, wow.
And but Suffolk was up there destroying it. I mean, it was Exhumed, Suffolk. I think a couple younger bands were on there, but Exhumed and Suffocation, just annihilating. And it was sick. It was really good, really fun.
I can only imagine it. Well, Jarrett, the last question I have for you, do you have any last words for Underground Noise?
Well, really, I mean, first of all, I haven't done an interview of any kind in the last year. So I'm going to say thank you, first of all. It's been a really big year for me. I did a new Gotor record. I've been mixing a lot of other records. I've been working on new Pulchra Morte stuff, and I have kind of been out of the limelight. I've been really focused on what I've been doing. So this is kind of the first time I've gotten to talk to anybody. So I just want to tell you thanks. Like, I appreciate you getting in touch with me. And just, everybody look out for new Pulchra stuff. And, hopefully by November, we're going to try to get out there and play, because we haven't played the new album at all. It's a new lineup. We got Adam Clemens, of course, from Wolfhammer and Skeleton Witch, my old friend. And we also have John Parada, who played in Wolfhammer with me and also played, in Abigail Williams. So it's a new lineup for those two. It's still me and Jeff and Clay. I really felt like Ex Rosa was a strong record. We've played it live, we've rehearsed, and I can't wait to bring it live because it really comes across well. And I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody. That's really where I'm at.
Very cool. You're welcome, Jarrett. Thank you as well for your time today.
Anytime, man.
And for those of you who have watched this webisode, hit up Jarrett, one of my favorite musicians of all time.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome, bro. You rock.